We are used to hearing lies and untruths in cases of misremembering because Mark and I cover people in politics. And it's a little less common coming from our fellow journalists. The feathers have been ruffled at the Peacock Network because of Brian Williams. But Mark, the question I have for you is whether journalists like Brian, like us, others, should be held to a higher standard than politicians.
We should be held to a super high standard. We don't know all the facts about what happened with Brian Williams, but these are questions that should be asked about his credibility. I think it's crazy to say that journalists should be held to a higher standard. I think we should be held to an equal standard as politicians, which is in public utterances. When you're doing your job, you need to be honest. And I wouldn't say higher, I'd say equal.
Well, I tend to think that I think we do have to be held to a slightly higher standard, because I think at this point now, politicians, that notion of spin, of fishtails, of evasions, of all those various things. I don't think anybody should outright lie, but politicians do all that stuff, and we basically accept it because that's the way politics are. That's not the job of journalists, right? Journalists should be, we are entrusted with the notion of being truth tellers, and so if we're going to take that mantle and proudly parade around as truth tellers, we should accept the notion that we're going to be held to the highest standard. Whatever that standard is, we got to take that on our back.
What do you think of the fact that NBC is now doing an investigation of what happened with Brian Williams conducted by someone from NBC News?
I think that an internal investigations where you have an organization investigating itself in all cases, not just in this case, are inherently suspect every time. I think in any journalist who sees that, whether it's in a corporation, whether it's in a government office, if you're investigating yourself, people are never going to completely believe that it's not a whitewashed account. I think that's just true across the board. You?
I think it's probably not a good idea, but it's not uncommon.
I know. Well,
it's done in politics too.
Yes.
I think Brian Williams is going to do himself a favor if he does some interviews with journalists who ask him tough questions. That's the only way this thing.
I 100% agree with that.